All right. Well, it is a great pleasure to be here tonight. I'm really looking forward to this topic. This is one that people have asked about is how to sell yourself without being gratuitous or sounding like you're bragging. So this is my thoughts and the things that I've found most helpful for addressing this topic. And then after this, what we'll do is we'll turn off the recording and we'll have a good discussion to get other people's perspectives and opinions so that we can all contribute to this discussion, because I think this is very timely and very helpful, very poignant for our audience. So the first thing that I want to share is it seems like the problem is no one cares about you or your skills. So branding experts will tell you to speak about your skills, experiences, and accomplishments. But one of the major tactics and techniques in marketing and sales is to qualify your prospect before you even start, because do they care to listen? One of the famous discussions on that is from a movie called The Wolf of Wall Street. And it was about a gentleman who knew how to take advantage of people's good natures, and he did prison time for it and everything. But one of the things that he talked about is, he calls it "sell me this pen." And his point about selling that pen is you don't talk about the features of the pen before you qualify their need for a pen. Do they need it just to take notes? Do they need something that's not going to bleed into their pocket? Do they need something that's going to be the talking point that they need to impress people with when they're signing a contract? So you need to find out information about your prospect before you start jumping into the sales pitch. And I think that's really the challenge that most people have when they address this need is they start randomly spewing things about themselves to people who don't care or don't want to listen. And it's unfortunate because we don't need to do that. So yes, you do need to understand your skills, experiences, and accomplishments. That's a separate conversation. I'm assuming that work has been done. But once you've done that, the next step is to get in front of qualified prospects. And so how do we do this? Well, let's assume that you're at a networking meeting or event. And then the point of it is talk about them first, their needs, their problems, their challenges, and their solutions. What have they tried that didn't work? What do they see as the solution? What do they see as the big need, right? The more you get them to share about themselves, you're gathering intel, and it appears as if you're just having a conversation at a networking meeting. So ask lots of questions, right? One of the things that I like to do is, the scenario being a typical, "Hi, who are you? What do you do?" "Well, I'm Alan. What do you do?" And they'll tell me, right? "I work as a lawyer, doctor, dentist, IT professional, project manager, whatever." And then the response is generally, "Well, that must be great to be in project management, such a perfect job with no problems whatsoever," right? And said with humor, right? Of course, every profession has a challenge. Every profession has an opportunity to improve. And so then you can start asking them about that and get them to tell me more. What about this? How did that work out? You can start to really drive into, and they won't see it as intrusive because they're talking about themselves. And what this gives you is social leverage. At some point, you're going to have social leverage for listening to them longer than their spouse, their children, their employees, their boss, right? Nobody listens to their problems as much as you have. So at some point, they owe you the courtesy of really listening to you now. And they'll give you some sort of clue like, "Sorry, what did you say you do again?" Or "Where did you say you worked?" Or "How did you say?" So once you see that, that means they've actually finally gotten through all of their needs. And now they can really pay attention to you. And that's what you want. And they've given you all the intel that you need to framework your response in a way that they'll listen. Assuming that you're at a networking event where this is a person that's a potential networking contact or potential boss, right? That's the presumption of this is now you've got somebody who's a captive audience and has pre-qualified themselves by what they told you before on as to their needs and issues. And the scenario is if you're going to be working for somebody that or networking with somebody who's going to be your potential future boss, you've already got the experience of solving their problems in a different company or a different environment. And so the needs and challenges are going to be very similar. And so you're going to be able to speak from your experience to that need. And so that brings us to your response will be something along the lines of, I'm the person that solves XYZ problem for such and such an industry or profession, like I did at this company where I solved that problem by using my skills, values, and talent. That's where you work in the branding that branding experts will tell you is, I solved this problem with these skills, values, and talents. And then if you'd like to know more, you give them an invitation. We can discuss it over coffee, or we can sit down and talk about it. Or alternately, if it's not a boss or a potential boss, it'd be something that's, I'm looking for people with in such and such a profession who have this problem. Is there anyone you can introduce me to? But this is what's called the hook in marketing. Is once you've got their attention, then you can explain to them how you're the answer to their needs. Conversely, or alternately, if this was an invite you'd be sending to somebody that you qualified in LinkedIn, say, and you were looking for a networking meeting, you could set it up as a fellow veteran or professional in industry XYZ. I'd like to learn what you see as the top challenges in this industry and what you see as the top solutions. In other words, it becomes an initial networking meeting where you get that perspective from them as a fellow professional. That is the sum total of that presentation. As I said, it would be very quick. Let me stop the recording.